around like that at age 58. So I want to get that out the way first. But I wanted to get to a bigger point. Because the time comes, somewhat pun intended, for us to take the gloves off when it comes to Jake Paul. Now, unlike people who've worked with me, unlike people who are friends and colleagues, what have you, I didn't find it funny.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank.
That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes that he's too big for him.
Stephen A. Smith tore into Jake Paul for going after Gervonta Davis, saying Jake's size alone makes the fight unfair. He pointed out that Jake keeps picking opponents who don't really push his limits, calling this matchup completely one-sided and lacking any real competition. In Smith's eyes, Jake keeps dodging fighters who could actually test him, revealing how his choices in boxing seem driven more by safe, easy victories than the hunger for true challenges.
That was Mike Tyson. Now you're going into the ring against a cat that's 228. He's a young lion, and no matter what questions may exist about Jake Paul and his ability to box real boxers, because we haven't really seen that yet from him, we don't question his power. No. We know he's got power.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith asked Gervonta Davis's coach who he thinks truly deserves to share the ring with Tank next. The coach didn't hesitate for a second. He said anyone who's had something negative to say about Davis should be the first to step forward. Names like Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez came up, fighters who've openly questioned Tank's ability. For the coach, this isn't just about rivalry, it's about respect. He believes these men need to feel what Tank's power really means. This isn't about revenge for words, it's about silencing the voices that keep doubting his dominance. In his eyes, it's time the talkers get humbled inside those ropes and come face to face with the reality of Tank's skill.
Who do you want to see? You, as a guy that's in his training, that's like a father figure to him, you're training him all the time, you know him, both y'all from the streets of Baltimore the whole bit. Who do you want to see Tank fight next?
I want him to get all of them that ran their mouth.
Give me the names. I need names, Calvin. I need names.
You already know. We went down to, we're working on the big four. It was Garcia. That's the first one. Roma, I hope we get him soon. Shakur, he's going to get it. He know he's going to get it. It's just Bob is in charge of that. You know what I'm saying? Bob know what he's doing over there. You can't tell Bob how to run his game because he's like a vet at this. He's been doing it for so many years. That's going to happen. All the fights that we'll want, they have no choice. They're going to take the fight when it's time to take the fight. It's just right now, who's going to take the fight? That's the question.
Comedian and commentator Aries Spears didn't hold back when he shared his thoughts on the event. To him, the upcoming fight feels more like a show than a true sporting clash. Though he called it a circus, Spears still put his faith in Davis's power and precision. He pictures Tank ending the spectacle early, predicting a knockout by the third round. What's striking is the mix of criticism and respect in his view. He sees the wild promotion around the fight but still admires Tank's ruthless efficiency as a finisher. Spears' take mirrors how many fans feel. This matchup is absurd yet captivating. It's pure entertainment laced with skill, where even skeptics can't deny the chance of Davis ending it with a violent exclamation before the night's over.
The next fight that's coming up is Tank Davis versus Jake Paul.
Oh, this is such a circus.
Yeah. Look, according to BetOnline.ag, Gervonta Davis is favored -240, Jake Paul's +190. So more than twice the odds for Davis. Davis is a lot smaller, but he's a real serious fighter.
I'm predicting a third-round knockout.
Ooh.
Third
round knockout.
He's out of there. Listen, I don't know what's the bigger joke, that fight or Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather.
We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, this is honestly just disappointing. As a boxing fan, to just keep seeing these circuses happen over and over again.
I don't know if the rumor's true, but I heard Floyd was talking about coming out of retirement to fight Crawford. Now that's got some panache to it.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
but I think Floyd will end up taking a loss.
Finally.
That's the thing. He'd mess up that record.
Yeah. And I would respect him for it because we know how much he's tried to protect the record. Take the risk. This is what great fighters are supposed to do.
Yeah, but it's interesting because people were saying that Terrence Crawford should retire because he's, 43-0 at this point?
Okay.
He's like 37 years old. I personally don't.
But he's still got the goods, though.
Oh, he's got the goods.
Yeah, he's still got the goods.
Because Canelo was a monster. Had been dominating for a while.
Right.
And like he had only had like 2 losses, one of which was Mayweather, very early in his career. But this whole like Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis thing, is just like, because Gervonta was supposed to fight Roach. There was supposed to be a rematch because it was, I believe, a draw last time.
Yeah.
So you go and fight Jake Paul instead? I'm sure it's a much bigger bag. I'm sure it's a much bigger bag.
And clearly that's what it's about. It's the bag, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, pretty soon they're going to have Denzel Washington fighting somebody. Like, you know, they're going to start putting like old men. I mean, they've already putting old men in the ring.
As long as before the fight, Denzel looks at his watch and goes, 16 seconds. I'm with it.
Stephen A. Smith, never one to hold back, says it's time for boxing to move beyond the circus acts and return to real competition. He believes Gervonta Davis should chase meaningful fights, battles that truly test his limits, instead of exhibition-style matchups that add little to his legacy. Smith made it clear he wants to see Tank run it back with Ryan Garcia, a rivalry that still feels unfinished. He also named Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson as perfect challengers, fighters who could push Davis both mentally and physically. Smith's message is simple: fans deserve fights that matter. Those are the moments that define champions and revive the soul of the sport. He doesn't want to see Davis's gift wasted on easy showcases, but displayed against real threats who can bring out his greatest form.
To me personally, I want to see him fight a Garcia again. I want to see him fight a Teofimo Lopez, somebody like that, that's got some power, somebody that has the potential to inflict some pain upon him, because I don't know if anybody can do it. And I've totally lost it with David Haney. After what I saw Ryan Garcia do to him, even though Ryan Garcia was a bit bulked up.
A growing number of boxing voices are running out of patience with Jake Paul's career choices. They say his latest fight announcements follow the same formula, picking unusual opponents built to spark buzz, not real competition. To many analysts, these matchups are crafted more for headlines and viral moments than for building genuine credibility in the ring. They point out that Jake rarely faces fighters who match him in size, skill, or experience. And while his events pull in millions of viewers, critics argue that the showmanship comes at the cost of authenticity. The spotlight shifts from sport to spectacle, with storylines that feel scripted instead of raw. For boxing purists, that's why Jake still looks more like an entertainer than a true professional fighter.
Performance. Jake Paul won the fight. But yeah, that was that. This time, Jake Paul is to take on Tank Davis. Tank Davis, he was recently in the news for being arrested for a domestic violence incident involving one of his kids' mother. He was alleged to have slapped her about the place. The charges were later dropped, to be fair to him. But yeah, that was when he was last in the news. What is interesting is just a couple of months ago, Tank Davis was saying openly that he'd lost his passion for boxing and that he wanted time away from the sport. There was speculation that he might even retire, as he was experiencing extreme mental fatigue from boxing, depression, and there were mental health concerns over him. However, I guess the opportunity to earn a truck full of money, fighting a completely worthless exhibition fight against Jake Paul, was enough to make him change his mind about boxing. Funny that, isn't it? But you know what? I'm not even going to waste your time or mine critiquing this utter nonsense. Suffice to say that this so-called fight we're talking about is an exhibition, and it pits Jake Paul, who is a cruiserweight, by the way, weighs in excess of 200 pounds, and Tank Davis, who is, he was the WBA lightweight champion, who weighs in at about 135 pounds when he fights. So that's a disparity of some 65 pounds. In old money, that's about 4.5 stone. There's also a significant difference in height. Jake Paul is roughly, 6'1", 2. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" at best. So, there's a height disparity there of some 8 inches. And once again, this is Jake Paul showing total disrespect to boxing, in my opinion.
There's a growing belief that Gervonta Davis's choices are being guided more by profit than prestige. Analysts claim his team is chasing massive paydays instead of matchups that would truly elevate his championship legacy. The rumored fight with Jake Paul only fuels that idea. To many, it's proof that boxing has shifted into an entertainment business first and a sport second. Tank's reputation for explosive knockouts guarantees big pay-per-view sales, and pairing him with a YouTube star only amplifies that financial pull. But to traditionalists, it's a troubling trend, a sign that fighters now value revenue over rivalry. Davis's skill is undeniable, yet his recent decisions hint that legacy may no longer lead his path. The money does.
Look at how Tank started acting after he made $40 million with Ryan. When he make another 40 plus million with Jake,
he's gonna go make $40 million fighting Jake Paul, and then he's gonna come back and fight Lamont Rowe for what? He's gonna come back and fight Shakur Stevenson for what? He's not gonna fight none of those guys.
No, the only way he fight any of them guys, Turkey gonna have to hit him with the Crawford money. Cause that's the thing. You do this for a reason, bro. Like, I get it. You want him to be competitive, but his goal is money. He made 40 with Ryan plus everything in between. Now he get this 40, 50 million plus. He don't even gotta fight no more. So now if you want him to fight Shakur, give me that Canelo money, man.
Jeff Mayweather, a respected figure in the boxing world, has openly questioned the reasoning behind this matchup. His main concern centers on the glaring size and weight gap between the two fighters. He reminds everyone that boxing's division system exists for a reason, to protect athletes from dangerous mismatches. In this case, Jake Paul's naturally bigger frame gives him a clear physical edge that can't just be brushed aside. Jeff believes that even with Davis's superior skill, the difference in reach, mass, and power makes the fight unfair from the start. He calls it a mismatch that risks damaging the sport's integrity. To him, this isn't simply about two men trading punches, it's a reflection of how far promoters are willing to stretch the rules in the name of financial spectacle.
It's kind of weird, because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank. And I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name that he's going to be fighting. But I mean, it really makes no sense because he's going to be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank's going to probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
Carl Froch, never one to bite his tongue, didn't hold back when it came to Jake Paul's choices. He accused Jake of deliberately targeting smaller fighters to keep a physical advantage. Froch called it ridiculous that Jake passed on chances to face naturally bigger opponents, names like Anthony Joshua or true heavyweights, and instead chose someone like Davis, who fights several divisions below. To Froch, the decision exposes what Jake's career is really built on: viral mismatches over real challenges. His words echo the frustration of many boxing veterans who feel the sport's traditions are being chipped away by celebrity spectacles. Froch's blunt honesty highlights a growing fear that modern boxing might be sacrificing its integrity for clicks, hype, and easy money.
Supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think. But the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into in the next episode. But hope you enjoyed this one. And yeah, just thought I'd give you a quick update because the news has just come in and I'm just trying to relax and play a bit of golf and I can't. I've got to get it off my chest. I'm going to add it to this video. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit like, share and subscribe to the best channel in the business, Froch on Fighting, and we'll see you very soon.
Daniel Cormier, respected for his deep understanding of combat sports, didn't hold back his criticism of the upcoming fight. He argued that it offers little real competition and a completely predictable outcome. Cormier pointed out that Jake Paul's size advantage wipes out any genuine intrigue, making it hard for fans to take the matchup seriously. He explained that the weight gap isn't just about size, it impacts endurance, power, and even fighter safety. In his eyes, the event might spark curiosity, but it lacks true sporting value. Cormier also warned that boxing's obsession with spectacle over substance risks damaging the sport's reputation. His words echo the frustration of athletes who believe boxing's proud traditions are slowly being traded for empty publicity stunts.
Wait, I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the
He's
reason
been
why
a
he's
world
taking this
champion
fight.
so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it? Like,
But
I
Jake
can't
Paul-
think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and the Jose Suleiman was very upset that he wasn't going to be able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's the thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis's last fight was at 136 pounds.
Observers have noted that even as many dismiss the fight as meaningless, it still manages to serve several powerful interests within boxing's business machine. Promoters, media outlets, and even rival fighters all profit from the storm of attention a controversial event like this creates. The debate itself becomes fuel, generating financial momentum for everyone involved. Ironically, the same voices condemning the matchup also help spread its reach by talking about it non-stop. It's a reminder that modern boxing feeds on controversy just as much as competition. Every criticism doubles as free promotion. Every jab of disapproval turns into another ticket sold. The real twist? What fans call a mockery is exactly what keeps the sport alive and lucrative.
Criticism for fighting Jake Paul, but yet at the same time, he is going to fight Jake Paul. Now, what I find interesting is how people on one hand are going to criticize it, but on the other hand, try to take advantage of it for their own profit. So Shakur Stevenson, definitely for press purposes, definitely for publicity purposes, offers to get in the training camp and spar for Jake Paul. Spar Jake Paul for the Tank fight. Now, why would he be doing this? It's called copycat crap. Because the last big fight that took place, which was Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, guess what happened? Jaron Ennis went and sparred Canelo Alvarez to help Canelo Alvarez prepare for Terrence Crawford. So, do I think that is coincidental? No, I do not. I think that it is trying to have your cake and eat it too. You are trying to complain and say Gervonta Davis is not a real competitive fighter, that this is a sideshow, freak show fight, but yet you want your name associated with it and you want to participate in it for your own good gain. Let me assure you that when Terrence Crawford said in an interview that he wouldn't fight Jake Paul, that's not a serious fight. And then they said, well, would you fight Jake Paul for $200 million? And he said, I'd be fighting Jake Paul.
The bigger conversation surrounding this fight isn't really about who walks away with the win, it's about what the matchup asterisk means. Asterisk to many, it represents how the line between pure sport and entertainment has started to blur. Jake Paul's rise has shown that fame can sometimes matter more than fighting pedigree, and Gervonta Davis's participation proves that even top-tier boxers aren't above chasing the spotlight. Critics say this kind of event waters down the heart of boxing, turning it into a show built for spectacle instead of competition. But supporters see it differently. They call it evolution, a way to keep the sport alive in an era ruled by social media. Either way, this fight forces boxing to look in the mirror. Is it still about proving greatness through discipline and skill? Or has it become a business where fame writes the matchups and money calls the shots?
£95, bearing in mind Tank Davis fights at 135. That's £60 size difference. And Tank often weighs in light at 133.5 pounds. You know, he's 5'5". He's not a big guy. Okay, let's be honest, he's tiny. I could literally put him in my pocket. You know, he's a pocket rocket, but he's small. Yes, I know, I went too far. Let's move on. Jake's been fighting a cruiserweight, over 200 pounds. You know, he's 6'1". He's just a bigger guy. You know, a different beast. This is what Jake does. Love or hate him. He knows how to generate interest, get people talking. In his words, do the unthinkable. But guess what? People will tune in. What can I say? The guy's clever. He calls out AJ. The fight's looking likely. Everybody's outraged. Can't believe it. Then bang. He's fighting Tank. The man's half the size. He's done it again. Whether you like it or not, he's a marketing genius. He knows how to keep his name on your tongue. Everyone slated him for fighting Mike Tyson. I did too. He was fighting an old man with health problems. But guess what? I tuned in. And do you know why? Because curiosity killed the cat. And I wasn't alone. 100 million plus people tuned in.
That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned, because in boxing, the next big story is always just one punch away. Boxing Glove.